Alright, today we're having a look at Stylized City by Frodo Fraggins79. Alright, so here we are in Stylized City. You'll notice that we're on the pause screen because the level starts us out, the creation starts us out right into a bit of a movie, and I want to be able to talk and actually catch everything that's going on. But let's jump into it. We're going to be talking about it, and can I read? We're going to go to the... No, I don't want to exit the creation. I want to go back. There we go. I saw a little bit of this on Little Big Dez's stream, and it's something that I wanted to take a closer look at. Even though it doesn't really have gameplay qua gameplay, we will be able to kind of look around the city a little bit more on our own with our imp in a little bit. But I was so taken with the look of the city. I was so taken with the presentation and the design and just kind of things that I was thinking about that we could do with this. Because it's all really cool. It's all really well realized. I love the look and I love the cohesion of the city. I mean, these buildings look as though they do belong together. There's differences in how they appear, but there's a similarity in tone that does make it feel like a place that has grown up with the people in this city, building with similar mindsets and similar ideas and similar design schemes. And I think that's just really neat. There's tons of detail going on here, and it is just all around nice. I remember the little bits and pieces that I saw in Dez's stream, and I immediately had thought of Earthbound or Mother, depending on where you played the game and what title that it had. But it has like a very similar feel to that, and I would love to see somebody take this. And now, Frodo Fraggins has made this remixable, has made the pieces of this remixable so that, we can fly around now. Cool. Hopefully the imp's movements won't actually screw anything up, because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to move around in Dreams. But is there like a zippier way to... Okay, that was zippier than I thought. God, this is so neat. This is so neat. I don't know what we're actually gonna take a look at, because I didn't watch too much of what Dez was doing with this, mostly because I was working on something else at the time, but also partially because I kind of knew that I wanted to take a look at this in here. But as I was saying, it would be really interesting for folks to maybe kit together some of the Earthbound looking characters, character models for those, and maybe set up a little bit of an Earthbound adventure going on in this city. We've got this nice and fully realized donut stand. I wonder, can we go inside? Can we clip through the walls? Oh, they're empty on the inside, but I guess that's fair enough. It would be asking a lot. How far up can we go? Because there's nothing to grab on in the sky, so it's hard to tell. Can we pan out, pan out, pan out, pan out, pan out, pan out? I just want to get an idea of the scope of the city, like how much we've actually got going on here. And it's not ginormous, but it's certainly not insignificant either, how many buildings that we have here. And they are not 100%, like, I mean, we do see some kind of copies. I don't want to say copy-paste because that's not fair, but we do see some almost closely similar buildings, but a lot of these buildings are really fairly unique. I mean, sure, we've got the front here and the front here are the same, but we did add this little hotel sign to give it a bit of a different feeling. But then when we get down into things like the movie theater, and the movie theater is certainly a unique building in and of itself. I wish I wasn't zipping things around quite so much, but as I said, I've always had a little bit of difficulty now playing Dreams 3D. I don't know if I can handle that. Dreams the movie. Are there two different Dreams movies going on? The green guy says hi. That sounds terrifying. That sounds like an urban legend, creepypasta type of thing going on, and I don't know how I feel about that. Got awesome video games here. They're mega awesome. They're not just awesome. I mean, you need to understand that. I mean, awesome is one thing, but these are mega awesome, and that really sets them apart. That really makes a difference. Got a nice little bit of Tetris going on here, although I do think it's a little bit wider than your standard Tetris. I wonder if they're going to be maybe adding a billboard later, and even though I know that this is not something that they did necessarily themselves, but I do really like the shadow effects there going on. God, this city is so neat! I would love to do a walkabout in this city with some actual characters so that we could see it on a ground level. As that, I think, would be really cool to kind of see it in a walking mode as opposed to this drifting mode. And maybe to have some earthbound enemies that you could fight, perhaps? Or, oh crap, we're almost out of time. We'll talk about the spec of the Hubble. See you there. See yas. And we're back. And Stylized City by Frodo Fraggins79. And this one, I mean, I don't think it's controversial necessarily, but I think that there could be some arguments made up and down. I did end up in the end giving it a green circle, even though, as I mentioned in the video, it doesn't really have a lot of gameplay. Well, it doesn't have any gameplay going on in it, but I really liked what it represents. I really liked how it was handled. The opening cinematic is absolutely beautiful as far as the camera angles and the movement and keeping things going just fast enough that you can see details, but not so slow that it feels like you're dawdling over things. You get a good look at the entire city, and then they let us play the city after that, and to me it's just gorgeous. I loved the stylization of the city, the goofy look to the trees, the more angular trees, for example, the much more angular cars, and they're very much almost out of a cartoon world. As we said in the video, I liked that the buildings, although there are some repeated buildings, that they do have enough of a difference to them to give it a feel of a natural city, but still with that cohesion that makes it feel like it was, planned and designed as a piece, and that many kind of small towns and medium-sized cities can have that look to it before, redevelopment goes a little bit crazy on them. So that was really, really cool. I loved all the individual storefronts, and there was only one storefront that I noticed in the video that was repeated, and that was the cafe. All the other storefronts were unique. We had a mechanics shop going on there. There's a video game store. Of course, we've got Bob's Burgers, which is cool, and the donut shop, and there's a sushi stand. It's Misu Sushi, and I don't, well, actually, I wouldn't want it to be Risu Sushi because I do like sushi, but I certainly couldn't make it. I don't know, maybe Risu's pasta or Risu's not Indian curry, but it's still really delicious, and it's kind of very pseudo-Indian curry, so something like that, I think that would work. The movie theater as well was quite nice, but just all of the attention to detail that went into all of those buildings and making them feel unique in and of themselves, and making, again, them fit into this section of the city. It didn't really feel random, it didn't feel clutched together, it felt like they were there for a purpose, and the city had a kind of people could live here feel to it. I thought that was really, really neat. Now, I mentioned, that the potential that this represents is something that I felt that elevated it up to a green circle instead of just a yellow square. There's kind of a couple of aspects to that. One, somebody had left a snarky comment on the Stylized Cities comment section. I was like, well, it's just a my brain. Unity asset flip. That's what they said. It was a Unity asset flip, and it is snide and it is snarky to say it like that, but it kind of got me thinking that in a sense that is something that Dreams seems to be pushing for, that the community is making these objects and making these objects available to other creators so that the creators can then use those objects in their own creation. We've talked about this a little bit in other episodes, that not everyone has the skill or the time to make everything from the ground up. So to have a big storehouse, not a storefront, because it's all been made free to the community, but to have a storehouse of objects and assets and logic that people have already put together that then you can use to recombine and recreate into your own creations. I mean, I think that is really actually quite cool. I mean, will it turn into, Unity asset flips like we see flooding the storefront on Steam? I hope not. It certainly has that potential, unfortunately, but it could go very much in the other direction as well. We could see a plethora of really solid, interesting creations that wouldn't have been able to be made had everyone had to do everything from the ground up, from absolute scratch. So Yeah, I mean, I think that is actually a really cool aspect. I think it's very representative, and Frodo Fraggins makes all of these assets that were used in the city available to other creators to remix and recombine and to make into their own creation, and that's absolutely cool. I think that's awesome. The other thing I was, my brain just kind of was clicking along with this, and initially when I had first seen it on Little Big Dez's stream, and I was thinking, wow, it looks, it has a feel that is very, very reminiscent of Earthbound. And we talked about that in the video. And wouldn't it be cool to put together, some characters and have kind of an Earthbound scene, where you're encountering the monsters and the objects in the story. Stop it with the camera! I keep on walking into the camera's effective range. I don't want to do that anymore. And kind of do a little mini Earthbound scene there, and wouldn't that be neat? But my brain just kept on clicking along with that, and I don't know how doable this is in Dreams, or this will be in Dreams. I don't think that we've got multiplayer enabled, but I never play multiplayer, and I'm sure that would make my PS4 and my modem probably both explode at the same time. But like, I was thinking, if we could have like 4 players, and one player is acting as kind of like a storyteller, and they're an invisible character, and they can interact with like NPC characters in the environment, and the other 3 players, control some kind of avatars, and the storyteller, like on a tabletop role-playing session, storyteller is kind of setting up what's going on, and then the players are interacting with the city, and maybe doing that over a Discord or something like that. And I thought, I'm like, wouldn't that be awesome? I don't know if that is doable, as the French would probably not say. I don't know if that's a doable thing, but if it were, that would be pretty cool. And then Stylized City kind of inspired me to think that way. So maybe that's something that could be done with Dreams. There's there's the bomb defusing game that's on Steam, where one group of players has the manual, and the other players trying to defuse the bomb and kind of talking together and working through the game that way. The precedent is there, even if the precedent is not yet there on Dreams yet, but it's still very, very early days. Now, the creation's not, I don't want to say it's not a perfect creation, but there are things that I would have liked to have seen in that creation. One, maybe a day-night cycle to see what the city looks like in the nighttime as well as in the daytime. I think that would be really, really cool. Another would be just to have some possessible avatar there, so that you could see the city from a walking view and interact with it that way, as opposed to just doing it with the imp. I do quite often find the imp, particularly with the controller, and I just don't have the patience to put together my lollipop setup at the moment, but with the controller it can be quite frustrating to move that imp around, and you don't really, although you can bring the imp pretty close to the ground of course, but like you don't really kind of get that we're walking through the city feel that I think an avatar would allow for. But those are really 2 very, very minor points in what I felt was a really, really knockout type of creation here. So thank you so much, Frodo Fraggins. I appreciate the hard work that's gone into this, and I appreciate the fact that you've made these assets available to the community to do with as they will. That is really, really awesome. And I do apologize a little bit to folks if may feel that this was a bit of a lighter episode of Dreams This Go About. I am like super duper pressed for time. I've got to do another 2 episodes of Isaac tonight and still somehow be in bed by 11:30. It's about 8 o'clock now, so yeah, that's certainly a thing. And also I do apologize if my voice is a little bit off today. I think I may have caught myself a bit of a cold. Dreams, as I mentioned, Dreams makes my PS4 run really, really hot. So during the stream I had to use the air conditioner, and I think I may have given myself a wee bit of a chill, but hopefully that will pass. I got the runny nose and everything, and the coughing and the hacking, and it's really gross. But anyways, I think that pretty much does it for us this go about. So from me, Risco, here in Osaka, to all of you out there wherever you may happen to be, thank you. Arigato, arigasamryota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.